There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com to find a store near you.
Hi, I'm Nathan Fox. I'm chair of the MFA Visual Narrative Program at the School of Visual Arts, as well as co-creator and artist on the Weatherman series through Image Comics. And you are watching The Experience.
I was just saying,
here we are.
Hey, everybody. Robbie's here.
Robbie. We were just talking about football with Robbie, and now I'm talking about watches with John.
Yes.
I have very, very sad news to report to our viewers. It turns out that John has totally blanked out this rather traumatic, horrific incident.
I absolutely forgot this. I really did.
And was reminded about this incident from his wife.
Yeah.
The Green Hornet custom-made watch is busted.
Yeah. Crystal is a crack. The bezel is unseated, and the band broke. I caught it in the door, getting out, going to dinner in Atlantic City, and I guess I just scooped up all the pieces
and of course there was heavy drinking involved that evening, so that made it a little bit easier to blank out the traumatic incident.
That was the summer where I quote unquote was dialed into the Irish Mule, which is a Moscow Mule, but they take out the vodka and they add, good.
Oh, I know what an Irish Mule is, my friend. Come on, okay, we're not talking about watches.
I was not like a cocktail guy. I just like whiskey in a glass. When people be like, "What do you like with your whiskey?" I'm like, a glass. I was not a cocktail dude at all.
I'm very much like that. I don't even like ice because that's just more.
You're putting water in it.
Yeah, you have to pee more. And that sounds to me rather counterproductive.
You go to McGillen's Irish Pub and they'll throw rocks glasses into the ice.
So just to welcome Daniel, who was waiting for us. Thank you for joining us, Daniel. Our old buddy Ronald, Proof of Life. Glad to know you're alive. And of course, Dave from Cali, our good friend Dave. So thanks for joining us. And of course, we have Rockin' Robbie with us and my buddy John. And
just from a library kid today about the Ken Hazer remark.
Oh, really?
I got on Friday, yeah.
The
aliens.
The aliens. The silver paint pen.
I say this all the time, and I'm going to take 1 minute to talk about this before we get started in hopes that the same thing will happen with some of these books. Full disclosure, I would not consider myself the most hardcore fan of like the Alien or Aliens franchise. I really enjoy it, but I know there are people that have the the Nostromo jackets and the Sulaco jackets or whatever. The Wayland Yutumi suit. I don't have any of that stuff. I really don't. However, my fondest Alien memory is I'm like 12 years old. I sneak into a movie I'm not supposed to be into. I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I'm old. I'm like 14. And I'm in a movie that I'm really not supposed to be in. And it's Alien. It's the original Alien. And, everyone's like, don't let your kids see that. There's, it's too violent or whatever. Of course,
That was an advertisement to go see the movie. What? It's too violent? My parents don't want me to see it?
Oh
my God. I'm sneaking into that movie.
I waited until my mom was like on her third BlackBerry brand. Right over to the theater I went. And I watched the movie. And it really it was like nothing I'd seen before. Because before that, the science fiction I'd seen was Star Trek, which, let's be honest, pretty,
Right. Pretty vanilla.
Pretty benevolent, but, and then the horror I'd seen growing up had been the classic stuff that my dad liked, like Wolfman, Frankenstein. And by the time I got to high school, that wasn't that scary. I go to Alien, and Alien's like the nice touchstone between science fiction and horror. And I remember sitting there in the theater, like, I'm like blown away by that. The very first time I saw that Ken Hazer remark cover, it took me right back to that moment. Like being a teenager, sneaking into a movie that I was not supposed to be into. And that's kind of why I'm telling the story, because we have some really cool Ken Hazer remarks. And I'm hoping people get these and it takes them back to a moment that really sort of resonates with them. Because this is the whole thing we talk about. Comics. remarks, slabbed books. Buy what there's some connection for you. You know what I mean? Don't just grab something and hope I'm going to buy it for 20 and sell it for 30, because maybe that'll happen.
It brings you to a moment in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It brought me to this moment in time where I'm sitting in this theater, and it's kind of like a discount theater. The movie'd been out for a while. Right. I'm sitting back there with like a huge bag of M&Ms because it was May, and I just I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And
Dave's ratting you out here. He says, John looks so happy holding that alien comic on Instagram.
I posted. Nick took a picture. But my whole point of telling this little story at the beginning of the show is everything that we have here, whether it's original art with Nick on Friday, it's books that you and I talk about today, it's New Comic Book Day.
Right.
When you get something that's collectible, signed, remarked, whatever, try to pick something that sort of takes you back to, like Spider-Gwen's been out now for like 8-9 years maybe. A lot of people are discovered this in college. Hopefully someone picks this up. It takes them back to that moment in college or high school. Or a good buddy of mine discovered Spider-Gwen, lifelong Spider-Man fan. He was trying to get his daughter into it. She just wasn't into it. As soon as she saw Spider-Gwen, now they kind of have this ritual where, gotcha. So I said to him, I said, hey, look, I said, these are the kind of things we're talking about. So hopefully tonight, and as the weeks go by and we sort of have more and more stuff, we can offer that to people.
Creator and our good friend Jim Kalorick commented, good story, John. Alien was my first horror flick, 7 years old, and a double drive-in feature of Alien and the theatrical cut of Salem's Lot.
Oh, Mythos!
Well, I guess Jim didn't sleep for like a month.
No, I saw Salem's Lot in the drive-in, and this was like, I thought I was cool. So me and my friends would take lawn chairs and leave the car. And then after that movie, I had to walk back to my old man's station wagon. And I remember that being the longest, everybody's pulling out. Right. You know what I mean? And I got like my lawn chair. And I'm all by myself. Oh, man. I remember Salem's Lot to this day.
That scene with the kid vampire at the window. That does it. That kid vampire at the window in Salem's Lot. It's one of the creepiest moments.
Well, I'll tell you, when you talk about Alien, and for me the moment was the second one, Aliens, because I remember watching Aliens. You had this one alien, and they could not kill it, and it was indestructible, and it had acid for blood. And in Aliens, when they walk into that room with endless eggs, that was my moment. Like, oh my God, what are you gonna do now?
I mean, I'm not sure.
62 left each station, buddy.
Marvel is sort of taking Alien, from what I understand, and I understand it's a good news, bad news thing, right? Dark Horse has probably done close to 30 years in Alien comics, right? Marvel is kind of doing things in a new direction, and there is this persistent rumor and we've had a few here. We had one slabbed, I think, where they did the Alien variants. There's this persistent rumor that eventually, probably like Guardians of the Galaxy would make the most sense, where you would probably see aliens appear.
That would be pretty cool.
In the sixth one. Well, let's be honest. I mean, the same thing is happening in professional wrestling that's happening in comic books now. Those forbidden doors are open. You know what I mean? Like, you would never imagine, 25, 35 years ago that Star Wars and Marvel would all be sort of under the same, the same banner. And I think you're kind of seeing now where, I don't know if you'd see Marvel and DC together anymore, but I absolutely completely see DC as well. DC did all that stuff in the 90s and early 2000s.
Right.
Superman Alien, Green Lantern Alien, Batman Predator. I absolutely completely can see. I think Marvel, maybe I'm wrong, maybe Robbie knows. I think Marvel acquired the rights to do both Alien and Predator.
Yeah, they're having some hiccups with Predator right now, but they do have the rights, allegedly. So,
I mean, I thought that was a good combo, but I thought the movies were a little bit wanting.
The problem with Aliens versus Predator was the comics were better, so the audience had built up all these expectations. And then you got the first cut of the first movie was really underwhelming. By the time they got around to recutting it and re-releasing it, people were already like, yeah, no, I'm good. And then the second one was just a disaster.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I watched them, obviously on cable, and with nothing better,
on cable.
with nothing better to do, on a weekday evening, I tuned it in. It's not something I'm paying good money to go to a movie theater for. But just a couple more shout outs. Stevie B's House Collectibles is here.
Nice.
Thanks for joining us. But all right, to start things off.
Why don't we start with Spider-Man, because that was kind of the...
Well, actually, I was going to start off with one of our $5 best offers.
Oh, nice.
All right, so to give everybody enough time.
Things. Yeah. No, go ahead.
So, and then we can hop to the Spider-Man.
No, always start with those, man. People love that.
So number one tonight will be Masks. Number two, high-end Adrian Syaf, blood red, ultra limited edition cover. Okay, so now this retails for $100, but we have one available. Okay, and it's going to be the offers will start at $5 and best offer at the end of the night.
Best offer takes it.
Yep. So Ron says, check out the Predator movie trailer with Arnold and Danny Glover. Which one was that?
That's the original. The original Predator movie was
Danny Glover.
Glover's in the second one. So
Yeah,
it must,
Glover's in the second one.
it must be like a mix up.
Was what's his name?
Arnold Schwarzenegger,
no, Arnold and
Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers.
Carl
That's
Weathers.
what I was thinking of,
Cora
yes.
was in that. That had like a...
Yeah, that was. I like that one. I like that one. I like the second one as well.
Second one
Because
is Bill
it was
Paxton.
different.
It was
Yeah,
one of my favorite actors.
was
I
very-
love Bill Paxton.
Yeah, it was different. Just
Oh,
like
you
Alien
see,
and
that was-
Aliens was different. Although JD has mentioned that JD mentioned that it was more sci-fi action as opposed to sci-fi horror. But I
Yeah,
don't
the
know.
second movie, they shifted
was-
it into another direction.
Right, but it was still sci-fi horror because walking around all those corridors, not knowing what's around that next corner,
I agree with you.
and then getting locked into that one room with what's his name? Turned out to be the antagonist, the bad guy.
Paul Reiser.
Paul Reiser. When locked in and,
Carter
that thing
and
is
Jay
getting-
Burke.
she's like scrambling away
You
from
don't
it. I'm
see
like,
that.
that's
They're throwing
hard.
each other over for a percentage.
That was the best line, wasn't it? So, but I mean, I personally love the movies. The third one, after that, it just, it kind of got silly.
You know what? It's one of those things where I make allowances for everything. To me, a bad Aliens movie beats a good movie where people are sitting and talking about their divorce and who gets the kids. And
No, I agree.
I do want to be able to be the one to throw out a lot of respect and love for Alien 3 though, because I love Alien 3. And
Really?
So, yeah, I love it. It went back to the horror elements. It was one alien. It was the
Yes.
dog alien. It was creepy. I love the idea of the prison. There was so much dread and threat. Like what I don't want them to remake the first one. I don't want them to redo the second one. So I like the concept of the prison planet. And I love, it's the best looking alien to me. 4 though, Alien Resurrection.
This is the kind of logic goes through the head of a Dallas Cowboy.
No, he's right though, and I'll tell you exactly why. No, I agree with him 100% here. Think of how creepy the stories are when Winter Soldier has to kind of roll into some secret Russian base with all these failed super soldier experiments. They're monsters, they're mutants, they're whatever. That's a legitimately creepy book. I mean, yeah, sure, I know it's superheroes or whatever, but when he's kind of rolling through there, sometimes he's with Cap, sometimes he's with Black Widow, whatever. They've done it more than once. Those are legitimately creepy stuff.
Real quick, the mask number 2 isn't starting at $5 best offer. Mask number 2 is $5 for a $100 book for fans that tune in early.
Oh,
so first person who claims it at $5 gets a $100 book. Not you, John.
Oh,
First person to claim it.
Well, you know what though, Nick? If we have multiple people claiming it, I think it should go to best offer.
Only one.
Oh, there's only one.
Okay,
So
I
I claim this for $5.
think everybody should get an open shot at it. But so
Everybody has an open shot.
no, but I
You
mean,
just have
yeah,
to be
but
there.
hey, if somebody wants it more, is willing to offer more. I think that's America right
This
there.
cover has my favorite character and then 2 others Dynamite has published at some point.
I didn't know that Spider was your favorite character.
What?
I said I didn't know the Spider was your favorite character.
No.
If it was green, we'd give John a shot at it.
I was going to say, we actually have a Chaotic Green book up here tonight.
So mask number 2, high-end Adrian Syaf, blood red, ultra limited edition cover, $100 retail book for $5.
For $5.
Whoever gets
First
it
$5 takes it.
So
That's really nice.
we'll leave that to the people out there, the viewers out there, for whoever wants it. So you want to do Spider-Gwen? Let's
I
do
want to do
Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Man because of the kind of long-winded
let's do
story I told in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's Ken Hazer remark. Everything Ken does is, we've talked about it before. I'll bottom line it just because we took up too much time in the beginning. Ken is like a master at this particular form of comics.
All right, hold that thought for 1 second. Ron is claiming the book for $5.
Good job,
You got it,
Ron. Ron, this is a nice book.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say Ken is like an absolute master of this particular art form.
Right.
I haven't seen him do one which was off base. For someone who is into Spider-Man, into Spider-Gwen, like I said, these remarks, hopefully, just like original art, takes you back to a point in time where Friday we were doing the original art show with Nick, and there was a page of, I can't remember what was up here now, but it immediately took me back to the comic book store. You know what I mean? I think it was like X Factor 90 or 92.
Mm-hmm.
And it immediately took me back to that period in time where, you're waiting, the books are coming in, you're talking with your friends or whatever. Right. And I'm hoping that, more than anything else, that's what we're trying to do here.
Oh, I agree. I mean, it's all of these books, especially for us older guys, has some point in our memories. I mean, I think that really that's comic collecting as a whole, because you're talking about different planets, different time frames, all of that intermixed together. And I think whether you're an older reader reading for nostalgia like John, or a younger reader, it's the whole point of it. It's taking you somewhere you're not at.
You're not.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's really the magic of it.
I know we have a lot of Ken Hazer on here, obviously, but I just want to say that not only have I become a fan, I think this is the best one that y'all have had up here yet. Like the pink, the way it looks, I love it. This is an amazing cover. And of course, Spider-Verse is a huge movie. They just announced the title of the next one, which I can't remember. I think it's Across the Spider-Verse, which I hope they do have like the Beatles reference in there, for Across the Universe. But this is beautiful. There was a Miles one from a few weeks ago. If you had the pair of them, this is just a beautiful cover. Like I've never seen one done in pink, and it looks so sharp.
It does. I mean, that's why John and I are fans, and we're slowly converting guys like yourself.
Yeah, we're sort of like I almost think when we do the Ken Hazer thing, the most common thing I get when I'm probably the most active on Twitter for comics, and I always get people didn't know what Ken, like they just thought Ken Hazer was a cover artist, whatever. They didn't know. Oh, I've seen his art, but I didn't realize. I'm like, yeah, I said this is what happens when basically Nick gives them blanks and say, hey, do cool stuff. Right. And if you follow Ken on Instagram, which I strongly suggest people do, you can see what Ken's working on. What Ken is not working on is what I asked Nick to have him work on. But other than that, everything Ken's working on is great.
So Daniel's joined us tonight, and we appreciate it, Daniel. But he had a question. He asked Robbie to ask us, when will we see the Phantom back on the big silver screen? I don't actually have an answer to that question.
The Phantom?
Yeah.
My guess would be, and Robbie probably have a more informed answer. My initial reaction is going to be, if you see the Phantom, it'll probably be more like a subscription service show.
Right. Okay.
Than like a big budget movie. I don't know in 20. We know there's none this year, so the earliest we would see one is 2022. Realistically, 2023. I don't know if there's $200-300 million out there for Lee Falk's Falcon. Phantom. I really don't. I wish there were, but I don't know if Phantom is that absolute top tier character in the eyes of Hollywood producers. Right. Like I love the Phantom. The run on Dynamite is really good. Some of that older stuff is surprisingly good. I just don't see it. I mean, Robbie, what do you think? This is sort of your.
Well, so they did the first one with Billy Zane. They did in '96, and then they did one in 2013, right? So that's 13 plus 4. That's 17 years. So we're 17 years away from 2013 is what I would say. So I guess that's 2030 is what I would say. But I definitely could see it working as a TV show, like a streaming TV show, way better. Like, give it time to grow. Not a lot of people are familiar with this character anymore. I was familiar with Phantom because of the Sunday morning newspaper. I don't know if they still if they even have comic strips and newspapers anymore. But imagine like being able to build out that world and that lore and actually have the time to do it and not just try to. The problem with the Phantom movies to me is that they always try to just take what they were doing with superhero movies and adapt it. But the pulp adventures of something like the Phantom should be done in a completely different way than I think a Spider-Man or a Superman movie.
Right. No, I would agree with that. So let's go to another $5 book. So I assume this means first off of $5 gets it, as opposed to best offer. Evil Ernie #5, high-end Adrian Saif, chaotic green ultra limited edition cover. This is also a limited edition variant cover that has a retail of $100. And just like the last one, where first person that offers $5 for it gets it. It's theirs.
Love this cover. I love this cover. This character's always intrigued me, and I'm really pumped for the new series coming up.
Well, John likes anything green, so it really doesn't matter.
No, I mean, it's true. I really do like the green covers, but in this particular case, when Dynamite acquired Chaos, I was super happy because Chaos sort of had their. If you read Chaos, you know they meant well, but they had their problems. They had their, there were books that had to were behind schedule and canceled and kind of not canceled. And there was a period of time where Chaos was literally chaos. And if you like those characters, Purgatory, Evil Ernie, it was a little dicey. You'd basically just say to your retailer, throw it in my box, and you'd never expect it. And that's not really ideal for the publisher.
Right.
They really need you to be like, hey, where's my...
You need that excitement.
And there wasn't any... Because after the first 4 or 5 times, oh, it's going to be resolicited, oh, it's going to be this, oh, you're like, okay. It almost reminded me, I would get Image trauma flashbacks of this really cool thing is going to come out, and you would get excited because a top-tier artist had done like 2 really cool panels on a page. And then it sometimes didn't happen at all.
Right.
Because, the artist decided he wanted to lift weights with his friends at the gym outside of Disney World. And, you wouldn't get the book that you wanted.
So, all right. So Dave had a question for Robbie. Which Alien 3 original theatrical release or revised version?
I do like the revised version, but I'm even talking about the original theatrical cut, which I like. I mean, I like it. I love the ending of it. And there was a comment that we don't like sequels that undo what happened at the end of the last one, right? Because, I can't ever remember the character's name, but Reese from Terminator, he gets away with the girl or whatnot, but Ripley's the only one that survives when you get to the next movie. But that's kind of what they did, I think, in part 2. They kind of I don't know. I really like Alien 3 and I always have, but Alien 3 came out, what was that, like 91, something like that?
I think so.
I think it's going to be, I remember they did something with Hicks.
I'm like
Hicks
10 years
sort
old.
Had died.
Yeah, right. I'm like 10 years old, so that's my Alien moment, of being like underage and going into a movie and just being like, whoa. And I remember Ripley with the shaved head and the way it ends with the sacrifice. That's always stuck with me. Always stuck with me.
Now, was that the one with Winona Ryder?
No, that's the fourth
one. Resurrection.
That's right.
She plays Call, like another generation.
Right, that's right.
Android.
So, all right. So Stevie B has a comment.
You better go find an Alien book because
no. Actually, it's about something else. Could the Phantom and Tarzan ever cross over, or are the properties owned by 2 separate entities?
Well, they are owned by 2 separate entities
but that's never stopped the crossover in the past.
That's never stopped the crossover before. I hate to say this because I'm not trying to throw any publisher under the bus, but it's really a matter of Dynamite gets properties because they're the property holder, the license holder, is convinced they can make money.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we're doing we're doing Evil Ernie, we're doing the Shadow, whatever, because somebody holds the license in the Shadow and they're like, Dynamite's going to do the best job with the Shadow, which they did. And so, I could totally see Tarzan is one of those characters where Dynamite's done it.
Marvel's done it.
I think who's doing it now? Maybe Boom or IDW or something.
Dark Horse has it.
You had some really neat sort of Tarzans crossed over with Red Sonja.
Right.
Probably one of the coolest Tarzan things I'd seen was Tarzan and Planet of the Apes.
What were you saying, Robbie?
Dark Horse is doing the Tarzan stuff lately.
Thank you.
Okay.
There hasn't been one for a while, but they right now Sergio and Mark are doing the Gru meets Tarzan, which I love. I love that so much.
So I can absolutely see that some sort of, someone, it could be Dark Horse, it could be Dynamite, it could be anyone that could just, because Phantom is King's Feature Syndicate,
right?
Which is Mandrake, which is Flash Gordon. There's a few other characters in there too. I think maybe Prince Valiant. Jungle Jim, a few of those other characters. Dynamite had them in King's Quest. I could easily see that. I don't think that's really that far. When you sort of have the characters that are set, primarily both Phantom and Tarzan are set in jungle settings.
Right.
So
We'll start with, before we go to the break, we want to mention that when we come back from the break, we have Spider-Gwen number 25, the lenticular homage variant, CTC graded, guaranteed 9.8. So that's what we'll come back to the break with. But before we go to break, want to remind everybody that, and we tend to have this at every show, the Dynamite 10-pack reader set. So it is 10 random Dynamite titles with a minimum cover price of $3.99 or more. So a suggested retail of $40, and we have it for $5 tonight. And
why are people late to the party getting these books at a lower price than I paid for them, who's been here since day one? That seems outrageously unfair. I want to speak to the publisher.
Because we don't like you? I don't know.
Seriously, though, all kidding aside, this is just a great way. They make great gifts. Holidays are kind of floating around the corner. But, it's a great way for you to basically try 10 books, and you try to sort of go in there. There's not really duplicates or whatever. You get 10 different books in one pack.
Yeah, and we've had some of our viewers purchase multiples of this. Obviously it's a great gift to start, kickstart your comic collection right away.
Oh yeah.
So we will do our best if you order multiples not to duplicate. Now, if you order enough of these 10 packs, some duplication may occur.
Some 10 packs. I remember one of the 10 packs had like a really cool chase book in it, and I thought, that's like, who knows what's coming. It's always, it's like a little bit like Nick Crate. Nick just throws 10 things in there, and you don't really know what you're
right. Lefty picked up. I know that Lefty's picked up the 10 pack in the past. Got his last week. Great deal, even with the shipping and handling. And I figured it at 3 cents. 83 cents a copy. You cannot beat that. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. I saw a retailer incentive in one of these.
And I got to get new bifocals.
Order the screen.
So, yeah, well, up until recently, we didn't have anywhere to put the screen anyway. But yes, it is time to go to break. So, JD, we will be back in a couple of minutes.
We'll be back with Robbie, too.
Hi, I'm Brian Haberlin, and I want to tell you a little bit about my new book coming out in October, Hellcop. Hellcop's been rattling around my brain for decades. When I launched Avalon Comics with Whilce Portacio, Hellcop was one of the initial launches, but I was wearing a lot of hats back then. So I gave over the reins to Joe Casey and Gilbert Monsanto, and they did a great job, but it was my baby. If you look at sketchbooks I've done over the years, there's Hellcops throughout. There are pages started, stories started. So let me tell you a little bit about the story. Discovering a whole new world that had only previously existed in our collective imaginations. A tale of adventure, betrayal. Hell's just another place, another planet with native creatures most on Earth would call monsters. And humans that have been there as long as they've been here. Doctors, lawyers, maybe too many lawyers. Please join me in October for the release of Hellcop and the Hellcop 3D Halloween special. Hey, I want to say thanks for watching, and I really hope you can go and ask your retailer to pick up Hellcop for October. There's going to be a 3D version with 3D glasses and the whole 9 yards, and the regular version, of course, too, with some pretty fun covers. Thank you for your attention, your support, as always, and hope you guys have a great day.
Hey, I'm Joe Pruitt. I'm the publisher and /CEO of Aftershock Comics, and you're watching The Experience.
Hey, and
We
we're
are
back.
back.
With my buddy John and with our buddy Rockin' Robbie from Pop Culture Philosophers. If you have not tuned into his YouTube channel, make sure that you do. Great content there. Rockin' Robbie
We
always
actually
keeps you
learned stuff.
entertained. Don't hold it against him that he's a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Oh no!
Not
stop.
everybody can have taste in NFL football teams, but other than that, Robbie's a great guy with
Isn't your
great
team
knowledge.
like 1-19? Stop.
Hey,
They haven't played that many games yet,
It's
okay,
hockey
John?
At least none of us likes Nevada.
Oh no!
So
And what's worse, being a Cowboys fan or being a fan of Alien 3? I mean, who knows, right? That's still up for debate.
the aliens thing, saved you quite a bit. That's all I'm going to say right now. Okay, it definitely saved you there, my friend. So we promised when we came back from the break, hold on, that we would have the Spider-Gwen number 25, lenticular homage variant, CGC graded, guaranteed 9.8. Now this is a $89.99 retail CGC slab cover. Best offer starting at $25 for issue number 25. So we're going to start the offers at $25 for this guaranteed graded 9.8, and best offer at $7.55 takes it. So we try to bring, and we've talked about this before. We try, with the slab comics, we try to bring you a good variety. If you are a collector of slab comics, if you're thinking of collecting slab comics, this is a great way to start. So you have this, it's guaranteed. We only have one available tonight. It's guaranteed to arrive to you as a 9.8. And we talked about this a lot. I know there have been, different chat boards, some people saying that CGC should, suspend accepting any more submissions until they get caught up. People, not just CGC, but, almost every major grading company out there has experienced a backlog, thanks to the pandemic, staffing issues. People finally going through their collections.
I understand it's easy to jump on CGC
because
a lot of times, because every person has the same story. A book came back at a lower grade than I thought, but how many books came back at appropriate grades and higher grades, right? So yeah, I would
Very
say
rarely, I would think.
CGC, I think, kind of takes a little bit of a bum rap. And the other thing I'm going to say is, and I'm not trying to be the bad guy here, it's not like it's a federal requirement for you to submit your book to CGC. If you really don't want to, or if you're really upset with them, then don't send the book.
Invariably, I think people, they have a comment, they look at it, they go, oh my gosh, this is a 7 all day long.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's their book.
Yes.
And when they go to the trouble of packing it up, sending it to CGC, and it comes back and it does not come back a 7.0, they're looking at this, and of course, who's the first person you're going to bash? CGC. It's human nature.
I'm certainly not on staff at CGC, but it seems to me that's essentially a thankless job.
It is, because
it's essentially a thankless
because
job.
unless everybody's submission ends up grading out higher than what the original submitter thought, you're always going to have somebody that's unhappy.
I said this years ago. If everybody's book's a 10, then nobody's book's a 10.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? You're sort of, literally a book, in order for a book to be 10, it would have to come off the press.
Right.
And somebody would have to, grab it with a slab.
Seal it
pump in
immediately.
the gas immediately. I just, that's not what comics are for. And I say this to friends that collect baseball cards too. I mean, don't you remember when we collected cards that just said fun? They're not supposed to fund your kid's college fund.
But somehow they've gotten to that stage where there's that expectation that you can't. So Aaron Dodge just joined us. Station, Aaron, thanks for joining us. Got to be one of Robbie's guys because they always identify themselves. So for those of you that may not have watched before, just so you know how it works, if there's a comic that you're interested in, put your claim in the chat. And then at some point, JD will throw up a link and a QR code,
right?
Which will take you to a submission form. Fill out that submission form and submit it. That will allow us to know, shipping address and all that relevant information. Your real name.
It's the most simple sort of, you know what I mean? It's pretty basic.
Right. No, exactly. So, Dave has a little bit of a public service
The
announcement.
Dave Report.
The Dave Report. Important note regarding CGC. If you submit to a comic shop or third party, make sure they are reputable. And that is a good point.
Yeah.
You do want to make sure, because, and again, it is fairly easy for people to submit on their own, but the wait times are still rather long. I know that they're tooling up. They've,
Rex and I are going to start a virtual grading service. What we want you to do is just hold up your book in front of the camera, and we'll tell you roughly what we think it looks
We'll
like,
figure it
and
out.
we'll mail
the
you a
amount of
sticker.
beer you send us will influence the grade. So that's all I'm going to say.
Oh
Hey,
my
hey
God.
Rex, have we showed that Twilight Zone book yet?
Not yet, I don't believe. Hold on a second.
I think we should.
All right.
It's kind of like Subway.
Let's find it. All right, so we have the Twilight Zone #1, high-end Francisco Francavilla black and white ultra limited edition cover. Okay, and it is it has suggested retail of $75, and it is $5 for the early viewers of our show. So this is not a best offer. The first claim at $5, we'll take it. Twilight Zone #1, high-end Francisco Francavilla black and white ultra limited edition cover with a suggested retail of $75 tonight for $5 for the first person who claims it.
Joe Straczynski is a guy who was not into social media at all.
And Ron has claimed the Twilight Zone.
I was going to say, Ron probably knows what I'm going to say right here. Robbie does too. Joe Straczynski jumped into Twitter and was overwhelmed to find the amount of love and support for Babylon 5 like 25 years later.
Right.
He couldn't believe, because most people hear Joe Straczynski now that are not our age, they think of Spider-Man, you know what I mean?
Right.
They think of maybe some of the indie stuff he's done. Older people remember Babylon 5. Well, Babylon 5 went up on HBO Max, and because it was like a TNT thing, I think, at
Right,
one point
I
or
think
whatever, way back when. And new generation of people discovered Babylon 5. And I've said this, being a lifelong Star Trek fan, being a lifelong comic book fan, there has been nothing in American television done from start to finish, a complete story told in 5 years of science fiction, before Babylon 5 had come along.
Yes.
Every
that's true.
episode had a new score. It turned Bear McCreary into like now he does everything. Bear McCreary is like a massive musical director. At the time, he was just a guy. Joe Straczynski is doing a pilot for, he's going to redo Babylon 5 on HBO Max.
I was about to be like, they're bringing it back because of
Yeah,
how popular
they're bringing
it's
it
been.
back. So Ron picked this up for $5, but I'm telling everybody out here, if we have books that Joe Straczynski did, I've talked about this before, buy them now if you're interested. Don't wait until Babylon 5 is on the air, and then you're kind of like, oh, wow, these back issues are really pricey. Yes, they will be really pricey.
It goes, it goes hand in hand. What ends up happening is with the TV shows, the movies that come out, all of a sudden these titles that may have been just kind of sitting there, not really appreciating, like the Batmans and the Amazing Spider-Mans, all of a sudden get vaulted to the top because of the extra notoriety.
Every time they redo the Twilight Zone, it bumps up the back issue market.
Right.
They did it, I guess, about 12 or 13 years ago with, I can't think of his name now, but CBS did it a couple of years ago. Every time they try to bring back the Twilight Zone, all these old back issues, from Gold Key or whatever, they go up and up and up. The last time I'm at a show, a couple of years ago, CBS is announcing that Jordan Peele, I think, is the host and one of the directors or creators or whatever for the newest thing.
Yeah, he did.
And I saw like gold key issues of Twilight Zone selling at $60, $70, and $80 a pop. And you know as well as I do, before they announced that, those books were not anywhere close to that.
I got to tell you, I'll never forget the episode with William Shatner, which to me was that moment of the original series.
Yeah.
I love the ride in Disney World. It brings back that period of time where I remember, Twilight Zone was on TV.
So here's a little insider baseball spoiler alert. With Babylon 5 going to be coming back, I will be pestering whoever to pester to get more Joe Straczynski Twilight Zone books out here.
No idea what you mean by that.
Now, I know you don't know what I mean by that, but people will want these books, and I want to make sure we have them sort of available for people. They're talking about doing another another Twilight. Now that production's ramped back up, COVID is sort of, they figured out how to make TV and stuff like that.
Right.
Paramount Plus has talked about they'll probably do another season of the Twilight Zone. So I would assume that you'll see those back issue prices go up.
Amazing. Ronald doesn't read Twilight Zone.
Well, as I remember, Ronald doesn't read.
Have you ever
comics.
opened the book, son?
No. Ronald has openly admitted that to us.
Well, I like this one too. This one in particular, I really like the black and white variant. I remember
And
thinking,
Ron would like you to stop touching his issue.
oh, that's right. This is both. Actually, Ron, I have one too. So if I get this one dirty, I'll send you mine.
But he'll
It's
keep
fine.
fondling yours. He has every episode. Ron has every episode of every iteration of Twilight Zone on DVD.
Nice.
So he is a
Station.
huge fan.
He's a huge fan.
So he may not read the books, but he definitely watches the episodes.
Twilight Zone's amazing, and Francisco is one of my favorite artists, so I love that cover. Love that cover.
So we should have not sold this at $5, is what Robbie's saying. We've lost money.
Oh well.
No, I'm
Yeah, but look at the great deal.
Really
Look at the great deal Ron got, though, right?
Yeah.
Well, Ron deserves it.
Ron deserves it. He's one of our
Ron
guys.
risks life and limb to watch our show, so he deserves it. He
The only
does.
book he had no interest in was the Electro book.
Can't imagine why. Electricity arc, maybe something he
Oh
doesn't
my
want to be
God.
reminded of.
The Galvanic Force cover from Ken Hazer was too much for him.
So he hates Electrolad in the Legion of Superheroes.
I don't know. He probably has never
Get
read
his
it.
little lightning lad outfit, man. It'd be great.
So, all right. So, what do we want to do next, guys? Should we go?
This is going to be weird coming from me, but it seems as if
That statement in and of
it
itself is
seems
weird.
as if we've gone 40 minutes without mentioning Batman, and I imagine the comic book community is quivering from withdrawal. So
Or
why don't you
food.
That
really-
is really weird. Didn't
So
see
why
that
don't
one
you-
coming.
Well,
We
you
haven't
know
mentioned
what? I mean,
food
it's
yet
just
either.
People need to have their Batman like they need like food and water.
Say again, Robbie.
So we haven't mentioned food yet either. We haven't gone on a rant
I
about
know.
the food.
I know it might be because I had a snack before the show. It's a little less on my mind. All right, so let's go to a Batman book. Let's go to Batman and the Signal #1, signed by Scott Schneider.
Nice.
Suggested retail of $39.99. We have it tonight for $27 for Detective number 27, and we have 2 available tonight.
That's awesome. You know, Cully Hamner was the artist on this book. You see that cover by him. He's from my area. He's like a local hero to the comic book shops and fans here. Like we all love Cully's work. We've been following it for years and years and years. And he's a cool dude. I've met him. He's really cool.
Look at that. Local hero. Kind of like you, John, only different.
But actual is what
So available tonight, Batman and the Signal #1, signed by Scott Schneider. Suggested retail of $39.99.
It's a really nice cover.
And we have
I
tonight
know
for
we have that,
$27.
but that's just wow.
And we have 2 available for anybody that wants to claim it. Should we do the Incredible Hulk next or move on to something? Oh, how about Star Wars, guys? What do you think?
Let Robbie
What's
pick
it-
one up.
Robbie,
What's
you
a
pick one.
Star Wars? What's a Star Wars? Let's go with that. I want to know what a Star Wars is.
You want to know what a Star Wars is?
Yeah. What is it? Is it kind of like Star Trek, but like when they fight?
Only different.
Gail Simone always calls it the Star War. She makes it singular. I'm like, Gail, why do you do that?
Because it's just one war they're all fighting, the good and evil war, right?
All right, let's kill 2 birds with 1 stone. How about that? Let's do a remark
Oh,
of
nice.
Star Wars. So let's do Star Wars #1, Scott Harrell, Baby Yoda sketch cover. Suggested retail of $89.99, and it is one of our 5-star at $50 books tonight. So a suggested retail of $89.99, and we have it tonight for $50. And it is a Baby Yoda sketch cover by Scott Harrell, Star Wars #1, and we only have 1 available. But literally every remark is a one of a kind.
It's one of a kind. It combines original art, commission, and signature. At that price point, it's a deal. This is going to be weird coming from me also because I always like either one color books or black and white books.
Right.
The color of this particular book is beautiful. The coloring here is just, you know what I mean? It manages to sort of kind of hit that like Ralph Quarry cover palette from the original Star Wars. Really nicely done. Really nicely done.
And obviously, the Baby Yoda has become
They sort of, you've watched people lose their minds at the end of the 2nd season of Mandalorian. I think it's okay by now. Everybody has sort of seen it. It really, when he was Baby Yoda, it was one thing. when they made him Grogu, it kind of came to a whole other level. Like you really had a connection to the character. I mean, last year, how much of that stuff did they sell? It reminded me of Baby Groot. Everybody wanted one. Everybody had to have it. It was on everything.
Yeah, Baby Yoda stuff flies off the shelves. And
it's like a license to print money when you do that.
Well,
I was going to say, good luck trying to find a Baby Yoda original sketch with color for $50 anywhere. Here.
Well, you've got a character that has succeeded when you've got knockoffs all over the place. I mean, for a period of time, Baby Yoda knockoffs were just flying all over the place, even before Disney's attorneys could get involved.
You literally couldn't find like a coffee mug in a store like a Target.
Yep.
I remember my sister-in-law texted me. She's looking around. I think it was between Mandalorian seasons 1 or 2. She's just looking to get like a coffee mug, not anything limited edition or specialized. And there's just this big empty spot on the shelf.
Right.
Yeah.
When you're that white hot, but yeah, the coloring, like I said, I'm normally not like a color guy, but the coloring here is just absolutely beautiful.
And to remind everybody, we did a contest on Robbie's show on Friday, so we're going to announce the winner tonight, and we're going to do it again. So anybody that has posted something in the chat will automatically be entered for a drawing on Robbie's show this coming Friday. We'll pick the winner. Robbie will run it through his randomizer. And out will come a winner, and of course we're going to scrub out JD and Nick, and if John is chatting or posting on the chat, they are scrubbed from the contest. They are not eligible to win.
That's another one of the reasons why I love when Twitter followers watch the show. I really do, and I never wanted to dissuade anyone.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's only like another click or two to watch where you can enter into the chat and enter into contests and stuff like that.
Yes.
That's sort of what I'm kind of letting people know right now, is that as much as we love the support on every platform, there's only some platforms that you join us on where you're eligible for contests.
Right.
And
that's a very good point that John just brought up. So we love all of our viewers, whatever platform you're viewing the show from, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. We appreciate it. We appreciate the time that you're spending with us. Hopefully, we're adding some entertainment to your life. Bringing some. Hey, JD, what? Not? I'm not eligible. Flips table. Thanks for letting us know.
I just thought it was important to let people know, because they're like, I'm on Twitter anyway. One of my followers says Twitter on the background, and
wait, real quick. Better that he flipped the table than the finger.
So, but
I just wanted to let people know.
Yes,
absolutely. We appreciate the support.
We do.
Blog, reblog, like, share, follow, subscribe.
Yes.
Hit the notification bell. Do all that stuff. We really appreciate it. Share really helps us. Nick says sharing is caring, and here's the problem. That doesn't apply to food or my comics. I'll buy you a comic of your own, but you're not reading mine. However, sharing the show's link is really, we appreciate that. But if you want to enter these contests, whether it's, the Robbie contest or things we do here, best offer takes it, first $5 takes it, no one is going to see your claim.
Unfortunately,
on Twitter.
And this may change. I mean, sometime in the future, this may change. But, we're obviously, currently, given our the level of technology and being able to stream on YouTube and Facebook. Unfortunately, we can stream on Twitter, but we can't seem to see the posts.
Someone on Twitter 2 weeks ago wanted to buy one of the books,
right? And
somebody else picked it up, and they understood it was fine. And they were, there was no way. There was no way to see their claim.
And this may change one day. We don't know. I'm not the IT expert.
No, I just wanted to mention it to people.
I'm glad you did. Because we encourage you. I mean, part of the fun that we have and part of what we're trying to do is, and Robbie and I have spoken about this, at length, is to recreate that local comic book shop experience. Because, thanks to the pandemic, thanks to the way retail has gone, and you mentioned this, I think, maybe on one show last week, just the number of local comic shops that have closed their doors is tragic.
I mean,
it's scary.
Half the comic book stores in between 2000 and 2019 closed. In like a 20-year period, we lost about half the stores, independently owned stores. That's disturbing to me. That's real disturbing to me. And I sort of would like to see that trend stopped, of course, and then reversed. And hopefully by kind of getting books into people's hands, getting people talking about the books again, the guidelines are in place, this, that,
Right.
you get your shot, whatever the circumstances are. Now you can go back into your comic book store.
Right.
You can find a store. Who knows? Maybe someone decides there's no store in my area. They decide to open one.
So Dave just got UPS apparently just dropped off at Dave's house the Red Sonja statue that he picked up last week.
Nice.
Glad to hear it. Open it up. Love to hear your
I
comments.
love that
Dave.
statue.
But so happy that you got it.
And we'll have a statue again at some point.
Yes, we
You know
will.
what I mean?
Yes,
It's not
we
like we'll never have a statue again.
Yes, unless John takes it. But
No, I mean,
we'll try to pick one that it's a little harder for him to get out the door than a comic because he can just shove the comic underneath his sweatshirt. But the statue's a big box, so Amy can tackle him on the way out. Hopefully,
she doesn't even look up anymore.
our
She just says,
statues
"Put
are
it
very
back."
well packaged after we get them made. So hopefully she tackles him on the grass, which I would advise anyway because I don't want John to get hurt. If the box won't break and the statue won't break, so we'll be in good shape.
And you know what? There's something else I wanted to throw out real quick too before we get back to the books. Feedback, especially polite feedback or even funny feedback, really helps. Dynamite Comics, Dynamic Forces is pretty much on everything. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, which are kind of like the big three, but there are others too. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you, and I suggest this. This is basically how I started communicating with Dynamite way back when. I started telling them right out, I would like to see this at some point. And I guess Vincent, whoever controls social media, was like, God, I wish this guy would drop his phone. But that was sort of the way I sort of began to interact with Dynamite Dynamic Forces and then other fans of Dynamite Dynamic Forces by saying, hey, look, I'd really like to see this. I'd really like to see that. I'd like to see this creator on this book. And that feedback, not that it's like a giant wish machine, but that feedback sort of informs the not a creative process, is the way we put it, like the publishing process, the editorial process, because they're sitting in a room and there's only so many books that can be made, right? And Nick and all the kind of, the council sits down and the Guardians of the Universe sit down and decide what they're going to do for Dynamite. And it helps if somebody
It was disappointing when
can
we
say,
finally got here, huh? There were no Guardians of the Universe involved, as you
they're
found
just
out.
eating pizza and not doing my books. But the point was, it helps them know, wow, we have a lot of people who want to see Red Sonja as a pirate queen. So, you know what I mean? They can, they can reach out to a creator and say, hey, look, this is what we need.
And all joking aside, I mean, because John and I joke a lot, Robbie and I joke a lot. I want to personally say that I appreciate both of you guys for being here. John is the ultimate Dynamite fan, and he adds his energy. You can see it when he talks about the Dynamite titles, but not just Dynamite, but comics in general. You can see that excitement. Robbie obviously comes with all kinds of knowledge. And that's why we needed Robbie.
Because context. That's
in context.
Really contextualizes.
Yeah, but between thank you, JD. But
JD's
I
like,
love
I'm
JD.
sitting right here. Why are you putting these other guys
And JD
over?
just requested a meat lover's pizza. I thought he was a vegetarian. I thought we determined that like a few shows back.
Who's a vegetarian?
I thought JD was.
He was talking smack about veggie sandwiches earlier, so I guess not.
I get. Well, he's asking for a meat lover's pizza, so I don't see how that works.
Everybody in the chat room was like, is Nick eating a veggie sandwich? Because,
That's why all the prices were so
it's
ridiculously
not a
low
pay
that
week.
day.
He's got anything else?
Yeah, last week we had a whole discussion about spam. I guess he isn't a
We did.
vegetarian.
We did have a
did.
suggestion about
I
it.
bought some spam, by the way. I went to the store and bought some spam. I'm not even kidding. I did.
We not only covered that, we covered the history of spam as well.
We did.
Okay. So listen, you never know watching our comic collectible show what topic may come up. And certainly all of our viewers are welcome to suggest a topic. If we fly off a tangent, which happens almost every
I
show.
will say this right now. I'll give him a shout out. My buddy Chef Witt down in Newark, Delaware, has a place called Thai Guy. And he does this kind of Thai American fusion food. And the top protein he uses on that food truck frequently is Spam. And I think he's got 2 trucks now. If I remember correctly, he has a catering business. He has a storefront.
And his overhead's low.
And his overhead's low. Spam is in. I mean, this guy's an amazing cook, and he just decided to embrace, he kind of did what he calls the Pacific crawl, from like Thailand to maybe the Philippines and then Hawaii. And, unfortunately, I'm like, if I lived in the Philippines or Hawaii, Delaware would be a big letdown, but maybe that's his thing. But he kind of picks up all those things, and Spam is part of that. All through that kind of Pacific Rim area.
Yes.
Spam is eaten, and I got to tell you, it's delicious.
It's the legacy of World War II. And with the current supply chain issues, we might all be eating a lot more Spam for all we know. So before we go to break, I'm going to bring out one more comic, DC Nation #0, signed by Brian Michael Bendis. We suggested retail of $29.99, and we have one available tonight at $19.38.
Let's hear it
the year Action Comics launched. So that is available tonight. Only one available to whomever wants to claim it. But no, I agree. I mean, I'm a big fan of Spam. I have been. And people will joke about it. There were years when Spam was not popular, like it was frowned upon.
It was frowned upon. There's here in town. There's a food truck called Not Your Mama's Tacos, and sometimes they will do like Spam musubi type tacos, and they're delicious.
Ooh,
See, I'm a fan. We know Robbie's a fan.
Real quick about this DC Nation book. I think Brian Michael Bendis is, right now we have some super powerhouse creators really out there. And I don't know if Brian Michael Bendis is as appreciated in his prime and in his time as he should be. A few years from now, people are going to look back at what Brian Michael Bendis did when we're getting to like Guardians of the Galaxy 6 and and they're going to look at what he did between like 99, 2000, and we're going to say maybe 2010, 2011. And that sort of ultimating of the Marvel Universe is a big touchstone for what you see now. And I think at some point, the same way we talked last week about Snyder and Capullo will eventually be in that Chris Claremont, John Byrne conversation. I think you will hear Brian Michael Bendis in that conversation of, right now we talk about Frank Miller did something that changed the game. Or, a creator comes in and you're like, wow. I don't know if people quite realize where Marvel was when Brian Michael Bendis sat in a darkened bullpen, which by his own admission, the heat worked in like only half the building, and he sat there almost like Bob Cratchit, reimagining the Marvel Universe, and which eventually became the Ultimates, the Ultimate titles. And I think a lot of what you're seeing now, the DNA comes from the Ultimates. I'll tell you right now, I guarantee you, but when Marvel relaunches the X-Men, you will see the Ultimate X-Men, not the Earth 616 X-Men. You'll probably, because that's what works.
All right, so it's almost time for us to go to the second break, but when we come back, we'll have Robbie run the chat messages through his randomizer, and we'll pick the winner from Friday's show.
Awesome.
Take us out, JD.
Take the break, JD.
You are watching Minute to Skim It on the Experience, so hello. All right, we've got lots of books to review for you guys today. And Hannah just basically showed up just the number ones and showed them to me, and I was like, oh, we have
just for the indies.
Just for the indies, yeah. I was like, we have got a lot to do.
Source Point, and you're watching The Experience.
And we're back with Rockin' Robbie and my buddy John here with some more comic collectibles. Now,
we have really cool light sound effects when we say engage the randomizer.
No, but we should.
We absolutely should.
I'm gonna write that one down.
Engage the randomizer. The lights should
JD,
dim.
look,
Hey,
the price is right
man,
wheel.
that's great.
You are the man, JD.
Nice.
Love it.
I like it. All right, so we will have Robbie run the randomizer, if you would, and we will find out who the winner is and what they win.
Absolutely. So I'm about to employ Rockin' Robbie's revolutionary randomizer, right? And all you had to do was comment on the preview show. We drop that every Friday. Me and Rex have a chat. We preview some of the books that are going to be available on this very show. All you had to do was comment, and the randomizing starts now. Hold on. We had a snag there. Hold on. Snag.
I was going to say snack? Is that?
Snag. All right. The winner is 62 Lefty Blues.
62 Lefty.
Nice. Congratulations.
You are the winner, my friend, and you happen to be here to watch. So 62 Lefty Blues, you win a Sacred 6 number 11 Lucio Perillo variant limited edition virgin cover.
Oh.
And we will send this right out to you, my friend. Congratulations. And thanks for watching.
That's a $50 book, baby.
That is a $50 book. And again, everyone who comments on the chat in the chats tonight will also enter in our contest, and we will announce that winner on the preview show on Friday. And we have Marcus joining us. Hey, Marcus, thanks for joining us, buddy. We appreciate it. And so, again, if you missed it, Marcus, everybody that comments on the chats tonight on our show, we will do this contest, this little contest every show that we do back and forth. So anybody that posts in the chat boards on our show will be automatically entered into a contest when Robbie runs his randomizer, and then we will announce the winner on Robbie's show, and then vice versa. Anybody that comments on the chat boards on Robbie's show, we will also announce a winner on our Monday show. So as a way of thanking, our viewers, we appreciate it. Adds a bit of fun to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's that the same way we do best offer takes it.
Yeah.
Just sort of an entertaining way to get the books.
And I really, really want to get the Price is Right wheel, real one, not the one that JD throws up.
Yeah, I need a giant one.
So that's my excuse for it. In that, I'm going to say, well, it's too much trouble for Robbie to run the randomizer. Let's get the big wheel.
Wait, y'all got my address. You can just send the big wheel here. That's all.
No, Robbie. That doesn't work.
Come
that
on.
way. Big wheel stays here.
I want the wheel.
If I initiate the big wheel, the big wheel
with a dark
stays
suit and
here.
a pair of glasses, I could probably cosplay Drew Carey.
We'll have you
ago,
fly
not
in
now.
as a guest, and you can spin the wheel. How's that sound?
Okay.
He doesn't look excited.
You got to buy me a cheesesteak when I fly in, though. So
I promise you, the
Big
beer will be
YouTube
flowing.
star. He's not used to hearing
The
no.
cheesesteaks will be happening. John will cook up a special dish, including spam.
nice.
I've done a spam cheese.
I'm sure that you have,
I did it at a tailgate years ago.
I have no doubt of that in my mind. The man can't cook. I tell you that straight up. Okay, if you don't follow his Instagram and Twitter, there will always be food posted on there.
What's your Instagram handle? What's your
He
Instagram
hasn't
handle,
bring
John?
me anything to eat, but hey, whatever. I guess we'll
I
get
can't
that.
bring you food in
Why?
a comic book environment.
We had food delivered. We had the delivery guy's butt blocking the camera. You can bring food for me to eat on the
That guy's
show.
internet famous.
Okay, believe me, we crossed that bar way back.
He's delivery guy, bud.
Yeah, right.
Hey, John.
And Sheldon's joined us tonight as well. Thanks, Sheldon, for watching, buddy.
Thanks for joining, everybody.
I want to
All
know
right, so-
what is John's Instagram handle so I can follow him.
John, what's your Instagram handle?
It's at J Cole. My last name JCOHL.
Don't do it on an empty stomach, Robbie. I'm just telling you, bro.
You know what? I've had people actually say that to me before, like, dude, no offense, but I'm at work and I really can't look at your feed because
It's every time I look at something you post, it's like, oh man, I want to eat that. Okay?
Well, okay.
And we see how easily influenced Robbie is. We talk about spam. He runs out to the supermarket and gets a can of spam. I mean,
you know what? It's a great sort of. I say this a lot. Being from the the South Jersey area, we have access to pork roll. I think some people in North Jersey call it Taylor ham. Stop doing that, North Jersey. But anyway, the same things you can do with pork roll, you can do with Spam. The same type of applications, breakfast, sandwiches. It's easy to cook up, right? It's forgiving. There's a zillion recipes out there. Thanks to, there's videos from YouTube.
What does JD want to see on there for $1?
So, JD, what do you want to see on there for $1, my friend?
I'll buy that for $1.
Nick has given you permission to pick one.
I apologize for disturbing your show. I was showing you that I had that gift now, but you don't have anything starting for $1 tonight.
That's okay. Nick says you can pick something for $1.
No, I said, what would you like to see for $1? I'm just curious.
Oh, never mind.
If I'm JD, I say with a straight face, a statue. I would like to see a statue for $1, sir.
So, all right. So, you know what? Let's do Suicide Squad. King Shark #1, signed by Tim Seeley.
At DC Fandom, didn't they just do another? Rob, you probably know this. Didn't they just drop another preview for another version of Suicide Squad?
It was like a video game. There's a video game.
Is it? Then I saw one where they're fighting the Justice League or something.
Yeah, I think that's the video game. But they did drop the Peacemaker trailer that looked awesome. The TV show with John Cena, that looked amazing. Man, everything that they dropped in DC Fandom, I loved. I thought it was awesome. The Black Adam little bit and the Batman trailer and the Flash stuff. All I had to hear was Michael Keaton's voice and see the back of the Batman.
The Flash was probably
it's just so funny, I mean, the pushback that Michael Keaton got with the first Batman,
Right.
Everybody was just, he was coming off of Gung Ho,
Do you remember?
Multiplicity.
Do you remember
Clean and sober? That's what got him the gig.
Clean and sober.
That's a good one. Do you remember when the same thing
Was there
happened?
anything else Michael Keaton was in we should mention?
Say it once, say it twice, third time to charm Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice is amazing.
Beetlejuice.
I was hoping to get
Johnny Dangerously.
Johnny Dangerously's great.
Johnny Dangerously.
I didn't like
Johnny
Dangerously.
Mr. Mom, Dream
They
Team.
published the Green Hornet comic with zombies once.
Do you remember the same thing happened with Heath Ledger's Joker? Because with Heath Ledger's Joker, when Heath Ledger got cast, everybody's like, so the kid from 10 Things I Hate About You is going to be the Joker? And now everybody...
Let me say this, though. I mean, and not to disparage Heath Ledger, I really enjoyed his version of the Joker, but how much of that was influenced by his untimely death, too? I think there was a feeling of... I don't know. I really enjoyed his... I mean, he gave us a completely different perspective.
See, I'm kind of wondering if maybe when Ledger, and they always talk about, I don't know if it's Shakespeare or whatever, somebody always talks about, in madness there's beauty, and insanity there's art or whatever. I don't know if Ledger was going through a lot of personal problems, but that energy translated into his performance as amazing. I mean, there's no, I certainly hope not. I hope the guy found peace or whatever, but, the performance is just, you watch it, it's held up. I mean, that's almost 10 years old now, that performance? You throw that on and you see him out there and you're just like, wow,
John's joined us. Hey, John, thanks for watching. He says Michael Keaton is amazing. Y'all don't even know. And then Lefty Blues comes up with one I'd forgotten that I really enjoyed, Night Shift with Henry Winkler, because it was really the first time I saw Henry Winkler as somebody other than the Fonz. Because up to that point, he was always
that's what we've done. I think
right, and then you saw Night Shift, and he was a completely different character. And through the years, he's shown that he has quite a bit of range. I
think it's Film Facts' film blog has 10 movies that I think it's actually you don't even know about how good they are. And I think one of them is Night Shift, and there's another one with Michael Keaton in it too, and I can't think about it. And it's all these actors who explode later on. Jeff Goldblum.
Yes.
And About Last Night.
Yes.
It was Jeff Goldblum. And these are movies that launched, really pushed forward people like Michelle Pfeiffer, Jeff Goldblum, Michael Keaton, Joe Piscopo to a certain extent. Johnny Dangerously's on that list too. They're like, go look at Johnny Dangerously and all the people that are wind up moving on to better things in that movie.
And John Holshoe also agrees with it. He's got Batman Returns, Johnny Dangerously, Beetlejuice, Gung Ho, White Noise, Mr. Mom, Pacific Heights, etc. He has done so much, and he's right.
Pacific Heights is creepy. Pacific Heights was Heights was like a real gear shift because I think
Right.
people didn't really see Michael Keaton as. If you see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about.
I got to admit, too, my multiplicity and one good cop. John added in there. I would agree. I mean, I've always liked Michael Keaton. You know, again, a guy with a significant range. You know,
Well, his performance as the Vulture is really, really good because let's be honest, the Vulture's kind of cartoonish. He's no disrespect to Stan Lee or whatever, but the Vulture's kind of cartoonish. You know what I mean?
I would agree.
They draw him like a bald guy where he sort of half looks like a vulture from Heckle and Jekyll or something. It's tough to make that character serious. I mean, I'm trying to, and the way Michael Keaton did it was just, you know what I mean? And it was just like a really relevantly well done.
Well, we're going to segue with the example of the Vulture. So tonight we have Champions #1 Dynamic Forces exclusive black and white cover, signed and remarked with a Spider-Man head sketch by Ken Hager. This has a suggested retail of $89.99, and tonight we're going to do it for $15. So really, we're throwing the sketch, the signature, and the cert in as a bonus. Okay. I think Nick wanted to call it a Ron special, but so pretty much a remark book. Where is it? Champions #1.
Where you're getting the remark as a bonus.
And I don't
Do we
see
not
it
have the
here.
book up here? That would be
No.
terrible if we didn't have
That's
the book
okay.
up here.
It's
Jay's
right
got it.
behind Challengers of the Unknown. Keep going.
Oh, there,
Oh, it's right there. There it is.
There it is. Because this was actually part of our bundle kit. But
Oh, it
that's
wasn't
all
the
right.
standalone.
No, it wasn't. But that's okay. Here we are. Since we've offered it, it's out there. So
It's in the known universe.
it's
now.
in the known universe now. So $15 for whoever wants to claim it. So it comes, as you can see it in the middle. The Spidey, it's a Spidey head sketch by Ken Hager, signed by Ken Hager,
And
and of
someone
course,
mentioned it earlier. This is the Miles Morales Spider-Man.
yes,
head
correct,
sketch.
correct,
Just to
yes,
be clear, it's not.
correct. It is a Miles Morales.
Well,
head
Miles is
sketch.
over the champions, but you know, sometimes it's always good to be clear
So-
to let people know.
Right, and you know you got to remember that it's a Dynamic Forces exclusive black and white cover, so it's a variant cover, and essentially the variant cover itself for $15 is an incredible steal. But with the head sketch thrown in there and an autograph by Ken Hager, it's really something special.
Yeah.
So you pick one.
Well, I'm old, so the Challengers of the Unknown.
Let's
Yes.
do it. So
I
all
love
right,
Challengers of the Unknown. I've talked about this.
Ronald is getting variety in his life.
go.
Is that what he
Ronald is claiming the Spider-Gwen slab book for $25. All right.
Nice.
Nice.
You got it, my friend.
We've
Mark
tried
it
to
down.
kind of show the lenticularity on
The
camera.
lenticularity? Is that
And
a word?
It is now. It's really difficult to do on camera. Like we've tried to do it before, where we've
Yeah,
done
it doesn't come across quite that well.
It's not.
But you got it, Ron. I got you down for that. All right, so what were we doing next?
Jack Kirby,
Challengers of the
Challengers of the
Unknown.
Unknown.
Challengers of the Unknown. Okay, so Challengers of the Unknown #1 from 1958, CGC graded, guaranteed 5.5. We have one Jack Kirby story, cover and art. I know you and I touched on it, Robbie, on the preview show on Friday. We have the one tonight for $700. Let's see. Dave Cerrone, Library Kid. Is the slab a claim or a bid? I assume you're talking about Challengers of the Unknown, and that actually, I can't answer that question. That's a Nick question.
No, the Challengers is a claim. It's $700.
Okay. Well, no,
it's
I wanted to make sure that I'm clear because I got the other thing
Unless
wrong on
it's the other
$5.
slab that was with the champions that he's asking.
Dave, if you can clarify which slab you're talking about, that would be helpful. But the Challengers of the Unknown is a claim, straight up claim book at $700. Jack Kirby's story, cover and art. Back when it was a one-man band.
It's very much it's very much of the era.
Oh, he was asking about the Spider-Gwen, but let me see. Spider-Gwen. Let's see. Spider-Gwen is actually a best offer starting at 25. So Ron is in at 25 for his initial claim.
Okay.
So Dave, it's between you and Ron at this point if you want to put a claim through. But you are correct. That is a best offer book. So let's see. So Challengers of the Unknown. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say Challengers of the Unknown is one of those things where if you're a fan of 50s sci-fi, if you're a fan of like the early 60s sort of Irwin Allen era of books where you had, or shows where you had Lost in Space, Land of the Giants, Voice of the Bottom of the Sea, Challengers of the Unknown is sort of the, I don't want to say the basis for all those things,
right?
But that's sort of where that started. And of course, a lot of people have said, some people said it unkindly, some people say matter-of-factly. Having read both, I've noticed this. I have masterwork collections of both Challengers of the Unknown and the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And there's an awful lot of similarity.
It's the precursor.
Story.
The precursor to Fantastic Four.
Yeah, it really
100%. And what's crazy is that when DC and Marvel did the amalgam thing in the 90s, they combined the two properties into Challengers of the Fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's like it was the same book, right? But Challengers of the Unknown is one of the most underappreciated Kirby books out there.
I agree.
Brilliant. It is so good. And to find a 5.5 from 1958, this book is key. You just wait. When does DC do a Challengers of the Unknown show or something? Because it would work. It would really, really work. And then this book is not going to be 700.
If they're doing Doom Patrol, I'm going to assume at some point they would do Challengers of the Unknown.
Exactly, right? Like once they started Guardians of the Galaxy, Doom Patrol, starting doing properties like that, everything is up for grabs now.
So Dave has an offer of 29 on Spider-Gwen just to update everyone.
We need a big scoreboard when they start doing this.
Hold on. Ron says his wife thinks I'm in an online Bible study class. Every now and then I just shout out hallelujah so she doesn't come into the room. Oh, Ron.
That's priceless, Ron, man. That's
amen, brother.
Ron, at some point, I'm going to come out to a con just so we can meet because you have got in the Maryland area, I believe. So he's not far.
Oh, he's not far.
John and I might have to take a road trip with some cheesesteaks, spam, and some.
We got to Maryland. It's Chaps Pig Beef.
Well, I'm going to follow your lead.
I'm
when
good
it comes
friends
to
with their PR company.
When it comes to where to eat in any given town or any part of this country or the world, I will follow John's footsteps without complaint.
Well, there's Chaps Pig Beef up here now. They did one, I think, in Media or Rambler, PA, or something. But they are sort of people from that area know, man. Their tiger sauce is different. It's not what it's not the tiger sauce from the bottle. They have their own sort of tiger sauce down there, which is like mayo and horseradish, and it's perfect for pit beef.
And Ron, if we do this, just tell your wife that you're at a Bible retreat. Okay.
We'd be like the Blues Brothers.
Right.
From God.
Reverend John. Okay, John Cole here. Okay, and we'll bring Reverend Robbie, Rockin' Robbie, also with us. Oh man, Ron's going to be at the Baltimore Con this weekend. I can't be there, and I know that we're
this weekend. I'm going to be.
We're actually going to be running an auction show this weekend on Saturday, which we'll talk about in more detail on.
We should make sure we give Nick our late night dinner orders now, so that the hot food is here when we arrive on Saturday.
You let me know how that works out.
No.
Dave says Cheesecake Con 2021.
Nice.
Dave, we will definitely invite you to that as well.
I might have to bring food Saturday because that's starting to get a little much. That's like
catered. If you bring food, it's catered. All right. Next up, I'm going to do The Incredible Hulk, number 611, signed by Greg Pak. We have two available tonight. Suggested retail of $69.99, but we have it tonight for $19.62. The year the Hulk first appeared.
Nice. John Romita cover on that one, right? John Romita Sr. Junior.
This is like a wraparound cover, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Let's open it up and check.
I think it's a wraparound.
It's cover. It's a beautiful.
I think you may be correct. Let's take a look.
Because they did a couple wraparound covers for.
Here's a wraparound cover. Let's see if everybody can see that.
Yeah.
Versus Scar. Look at that. John Romita Jr. Beautiful. Power.
Yeah.
That's dynamic. That's Kirby type stuff right there.
It is, isn't it? It's absolutely amazing. I mean, you know, well, the Ramitas, you know, are royalty in the comic book universe.
Yeah, I mean,
That
there's
goes
a
without
few
question.
family names that are sort of, you know,
Wow,
like at that Hall of Fame level.
Yeah. And the Ramita family.
And the Ramita family is there.
You know, I mean, there's so few that can say that.
There are very few people. I don't know if I can think of any family.
The Cuberts.
I'm not trying to.
The Seamas.
You know, I'm not trying to put
That's
a focus on the other families or brother acts or whatever. I don't know if there's another family that's reached the level of quality and consistency that John Romita and Jared Jr. have.
Right, I would agree with that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I at least not off the top of my head, you know. I know the Kubert brothers have been, you know, like a devastating tag team in comic book art, but I just don't know if anyone's kind of reached that level of, you know, you look at what JR Jr. has done, you look at how, you know, you've got 5, 6, 7 maybe master builders of the Marvel universe.
Right.
After Lee and Kirby are kind of the architects. John Romita is absolutely one of them. So, you know what I mean? I don't know if there's another family with that much sort of, for lack of a better term, cred.
Street cred.
Street cred,
so to
it's
speak.
the truth.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I totally agree with you. All right, so let's do a second Star Wars comic. We have Star Wars #1, Dynamic Forces exclusive Imperial Elite Gold signature signed by cover artist Greg Land. And suggested retail of $89.99, and we have it tonight for $77 for 1977.
And I'll tell you what the vibe is here. If you really look at the art, it's very much a throwback to the first time Marvel did Star Wars. You know, there's an entire generation of people that had no idea Marvel did Star Wars first.
Right.
Because everybody grew up with Dark Horse doing Star Wars, right? But there was a time long, long ago
Exactly.
where Marvel was sort of the...
Well, they had to do it and really had not even had the material with which
they had, I understand they had like a single page sort of, you know, I think Stanley once showed a Polaroid, and this is really going to date people, a Polaroid of like a ditto sheet of just like things to put in the book, like words and phrases. There was very, very little real sort of information.
They were really putting it together in a dark, so to speak.
They did when Gold Key first started doing Star Trek. It was the same thing. Like they had nothing to go on, and they were just like, whatever, sure.
You know what? It's funny that you should mention it, and I know you're a huge Trek fan. Nick just obtained, and we're putting it together now, and you know, getting them bagged, you know, putting them in new bags and boards. But a whole bunch of the Gold Key original Star Trek series.
Nice.
And as soon as we get that together, we're going to bring it obviously on the show for
You'll see
the
an
fans.
exploded view of the Enterprise in one of those books, and because they have almost no information.
Right.
The Enterprise is like the size of 747. Like if you see the way they did it, and then of course anybody knows Enterprise is a massive vessel. You know what I mean? Even like the original Enterprise is a massive vessel, and you watch the way Gold Key did it, and it's literally like
the bridge doesn't quite look the same.
The whole saucer section is the bridge.
Yeah, and what's funny is that I found out a lot about that Gold Key series, Star Trek series from Mariano Nicieza. Okay, the creator. And he was a huge, as a kid, collected all of these Gold Keys and was explaining to me, you know, it did, you know, as a huge Trek fan himself, he took, you know, exception with the kind of you know, creative latitude that they took with this.
Weren't right in the beginning. There was
Well, they didn't know though, right? They didn't know, and I think it was Lynn Wein came in and kind of straightened it all out.
Right.
A little bit later on. Those are good. Those are good, fun comics, though. Like they're completely acting out of character. Spock, in particular, they don't have any of the dynamics between the characters, right? It's just, but they had nothing to go on. They were like, "What's this? Sure, throw it together." But some of a brilliant artwork for its time too. Though the artwork is amazing in those.
It really is. I mean, the characters really look like
Gold Key books where I would say to people, I understand that the common thinking is that art in the Silver Age is weak. There are a couple books from Gold Key, Star Trek being one of them, that art is really sort of like ahead of its time. It's much more 70s, 80s than 60s.
It's funny, you know, and growing up, I was a huge sci-fi fan, so I was a huge sci-fi reader, but needless to say, I was a huge Star Trek fan, watching, you know, 3 years of the same episodes over and over and over and over and over again. And
Channel 11 after Yankee games. You had to go look them up.
and then when Star Wars came out, I mean, that was like something completely new, completely different. But it always felt like there was such a vacuum, such a shortage of these types of things. And I remember after Star Wars success, they had a whole bunch of really, really bad sci-fi movies. They were just pumping out, trying to ride.
They were trying to sort of, for me, to fill the gap between Star Trek and Star Wars was the Jerry Anderson universe.
Ooh.
Thunderbirds.
Right.
Captain Scarlet. People are probably like, what is he talking about? Google Marionation and you'll see what I mean.
I was lost till you said Thunderbirds, and I was like, oh, okay, that guy.
This was stuff that was both, and then even you had Space 1999, which was really good. UFO.
Yes, I enjoyed Space 1999. Yeah.
This was just sort of it filled the gap, right? Once Star Wars came, I hate to say it, the curtain kind of closed on stuff like Space 1999 or UFO. UFO is a great show. It was kind of weird, but it was really well done. Just once Star Wars came,
there was right after Star Wars came out, there was a really bad movie that came out with my gosh, the guy was on the Waltons. It was really bad. His spaceship looked like kind of a cow.
Oh no!
It was. I'll have to look it up, and I'll tell everybody. I'll look it up.
TV shows too. Anybody remember Richard Benjamin in a show called Quark on NBC?
Yes.
It was terrible.
It was bad. It was horribly bad.
Desperate.
But everybody was they saw the success of Star Wars. They heard the story of George Lucas, and they figured we'll just throw anything out there. And guess what? We watched it. Okay? We absolutely watched it. It was in all of its horrible, horrible formats. We watched it. Because we were so desperate for something more.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where you saw.
That's it, Marcus. Battle Beyond the Stars. That was the movie.
Stars.
That was the movie. Oh my! And it was
so
just
bad.
It was so horrible. And I made my dad take me to watch it in the movie theaters. And my dad was like, "This is horrible." And I go, "I know, but can we watch it again? Can we watch it again?" I had to watch the car after that. It was bad.
Man. I've heard about that movie. It's got
was that a Roger Corman movie?
Yeah, I've heard about that movie. It's got a big cult following. I think it's Corman. Yeah.
I did not know that. That man had the absolute touch of death.
He was the Undertaker before the Undertaker.
His movies were just bad all the way around.
Oh man, they're so bad. They're good though. Sometimes. I mean, Roger Corman's made some good pictures.
Like what?
What do you mean, like what? Humanoids from the Deep, Slumber Party Massacre, which he produced.
Robbie is a huge horror.
I am.
So I know this.
Humanoids in the Deep just went on Amazon Prime, so people should probably check that out.
Ronald Spaceballs was an excellent movie.
Oh no!
Come on, man. Come on.
Love Spaceballs.
Come on, you had to love Spaceballs.
Is it time for a break?
Oh man, it is actually time for a break. Ironically enough. All right, so.
I think we'll be back in our last break.
Yes, this is our last break. We'll be back in a few minutes to talk about horrible sci-fi movies that
we all went and watched. Comic or two.
Yes, and we might get to another comic or two. JD, if you would please take it.
To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds. A promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey. And behind every page, there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop today. Visit ComicShopLocator.com today.
Today's comics market is ripe with new titles by creators who are determined to get their books into your hands. My name is Henri Compen. For the last decade, I've been making and selling my own creator-owned comics and dealing as a collector in live sales. My signature series, Yi Sun Shin, is the book that cannot be defeated in battle and has over 250,000 copies in print. Now I'm taking comics to the next level and laying the groundwork for my fellow creators to get their voices heard so they can connect directly with you. This is your chance to engage live with top comic book talent and get your comics signed without having to wait in long lines or pay any fees. But remember, we only have a limited amount of their books in stock, so always remember to call it as you see it.
Hey, I'm Garrett Gunn. You might know me from Good Boy, Warcorns, Franklin and Ghost, and you're watching The Experience.
And we're back. We got rid of John. We just had enough of him. Oh, hey, John.
I had to get a refill.
Spam! Look at that. Oh, and you got the low sodium spam. Good for you.
You got
nice. That'll add 10 minutes to the end of your life.
Yes.
I'm
happy I'll want every single minute. Trust me.
So, spam cam.
Nice.
I just wanted to prove I wasn't just lying. Like, I really went and bought spam.
Yeah, you weren't lying. Richard Corman's Excalibur. I remember that one.
All the Edgar Allan Poe stuff that he did was great too, right? Like all the Edgar Allan Poe stuff that he did, like Mask of the Red Death.
I don't remember those. I do remember Excalibur. I mean, I love Spaceballs because I love Mel Brooks.
I love
his irreverent, satirical.
Roger Corman is like a swings big, hits big, misses big kind of filmmaker, right?
Right.
There are things that Roger Corman has done which are awful, just like Alfred Hitchcock. And then, of course, there's those super high notes. Like, nobody ever wants to talk about the terrible movies Hitchcock made. Everybody will just talk about The Birds and Psycho. You know what I mean? Hitchcock, by his own admission, was about 50-50 in his life. So Corman is one of those guys that actually did put together some good movies, but like a lot of filmmakers, you know, maybe he didn't use the best judgment in picking projects. He didn't have the budget. I mean, I think Fantastic Four is the biggest version. Biggest example that comes to my mind right away of, dude, you didn't have nearly enough money to do this.
Not to do it and you know, I guess maybe the technology didn't really exist at the time.
Well, not only did technology not exist, but at the time, if I remember correctly, like some German company on the rights to make the Fantastic Four, and they didn't really completely understand what they were doing. There was like a lot of issues there.
So, I mean, I just looked up Battle Beyond Stars. It turned out to be a moderate box office success, but it came out in 1980, so 3 years after Star Wars. So the market was live, and he was opportunistic. He came out with the right movie at the right time. No matter
and if you make it cheap enough,
yes,
you can make it successful, right?
Well, timing is everything, isn't it?
See, the problem in 1980, if I remember correctly, Battle Beyond the Stars was probably bumping heads with Flash Gordon.
Oh, yes. Yes, another quality sci-fi film.
I love Flash Gordon.
But things like Battle Beyond the Stars would wind up as being the B movie, which that's where the term comes from on the drive-in. It would be the movie after the main movie, right? And
that is correct.
Sold a lot of tickets that way too.
Like the B-side of a record. So
that's a great analogy, like the B-side of a record.
And I'm talking 45.
You think I'm kidding when you don't think Flash Gordon is a good movie? Go look at Sam Jones' signing table at a con.
Oh, dude,
they
I watched
worship
the movie.
that man.
I watched the movie a million times. My cousin and I, we were kids at the time, and we found the one scene hilarious, and our parents thought we lost our minds that we were on drugs. The one scene where he's running around beating everybody up, and I think the female lead goes, "Hey, Flash," and throws something at him, and it hits him in the head, knocks him out. For whatever reason, we thought that scene was the funniest scene, and we reproduced
You were probably high. You were right. You were on.
All right, so just to keep John in check, we're going to do another Batman comic.
Oh,
yes, sir.
Totally. I was just about to mention why that Flash Gordon should be published again, but
hold that thought. So we got Batman Superman number 18, Flash 75 variant by Jim Lee, gold signature series signed by Scott Williams. Suggested retail of $89.99, and we're going to do it tonight for $27 for Detective number 27. So we have one available tonight. 62 Lefty Blues, American Graffiti. That was a good movie.
It was a good movie.
Yeah. That was also
Harrison Ford was in that
Harrison
movie?
Ford.
Ron Howard
was in that movie.
And
yeah.
I can't think of her name. She plays Shirley. Laverne Shirley was in
Yes,
that movie.
yes.
Cindy something maybe?
I want to say Cindy Lauper, but we all know that's wrong.
No.
But yes.
If you watch American Graffiti, you see quite a few people pop up. It's just like Grease.
Yes.
You watch Grease, and then you're like, oh, wait, that's... I'm like, yeah.
Was it Spielberg or Lucas that did that film?
Lucas.
I
Yes,
think
it
Lucas
was
did American
right?
Graffiti.
Yeah,
and I
Lucas
think that's
did
how
American.
Harrison Ford got cast for Star Wars as well.
Yep, because he's in there
that's how
for
I was familiar
a
with
tiny
it.
bit. Yeah.
Literally, Harrison Ford's whole life stories, I was in the right place at the right time.
Tomorrow joining us tonight, at another one of your guys' station. I can always identify your guys.
Hey, look at that. It looks like Superman's cape's part of my shirt. Look at that.
It does look like that, doesn't it?
That's actually cool.
That's a Ken Hazer connecting
Do
cover.
a screen grab of that.
It is, right? I mean, that is super
See,
cool.
that's something I think Ken should be doing. He should be doing a remark of us doing the show.
I
Talking
know.
about his books in the background.
Fire off an email.
Well, I'll have to have it where it spoofs his Nick's email because he's not going to talk to me.
Spoof Nick's email. That works.
Hi, this is Nick from Dynamite. I would like you to draw.
My good friend John Cole.
Can you imagine?
Oh,
I'm sure
God.
my emails go to Ken's spam thing folder just like mine does to you.
So, all right. So let's do another remark. This is one of my favorite remarks. I got to be honest. Joker 80th anniversary number one
that's
with
so
a randomly chosen Joker through the ages sketch by Ken Hazer. Now he did a variety of these, and there was the Jack Nicholson Joker. There was
the Cesar Romero Joker.
The Cesar Romero Joker.
Heath
So
Ledger.
all the different Jokers of the ages, he did a sketch cover. This one, what do we think, guys? Who do we think? This
Killing Joke. This is Killing
What's that?
Joke. This is Boland's Killing Joker. To
That's
me.
what I was going to say. It's very
Yes.
much a Killing Joke vibe.
I would agree with that. So suggested retail of $89.99. We're going to do it for $80 tonight. Again, and this is just one of I think one of Ken Hazer's best works.
Not only that, but when Ken does different versions of the same character, we had Superman through Batman through the ages, and we had Thor. We had different versions of Thor, or different versions of the Hammer. I mean, he is just so good at that stuff. It's crazy.
I mean, we could talk about Hazer for the rest of the show and not really be done. And Chamorro wants to know that if he buys the book, does it come with the shirt?
Yeah, actually, I ripped the shirt the other day, so I'll send it to you, Manny, if you buy the book.
That's free.
I'll sign it too, so I'll send it to you.
Well, that just devalued it.
No,
I'm kidding. I'm joking. Let's see. Yes, I remember Ron. We had this the other versions on before, and Ron had picked up the Jack Nicholson and the Heath Ledger, Joker
ones,
which were. I mean, it's just amazing when he does this stuff. I mean, Ken has this ability, just this range to be able to really mimic, and maybe mimic's not even the right word, but
no, I think he
recreate
channels the creative energy, the house style.
a homage, if you will.
The Scrooge McDuck is the one that really hammers that home for me.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, Disney. Let's be honest. Disney has a certain style, right? You have to be able to draw this way. You can't do any takes on Disney characters. You draw them their way, and you know what I mean. That looks like every Scrooge McDuck that we've seen for the last 40 years, 50 years. I'd love to get Ken to do like a Darkwing Duck book.
Oh man,
that would be pretty cool.
Oh wow. Or DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, that would be so cool.
Yeah.
What I love about this one is where he chose to end the chin. it makes a really striking image overall as far as the composition goes. It kind of looks like a cheap mask you would buy, like the same.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It's so freaking good. I love it. This is
This
amazing.
image would be cool on a shirt too.
Oh,
I would
yes.
agree. Yeah.
This image would be cool on a shirt, almost like a sort of.
So Ron wants to know, what is the most successful B movie of all time? I don't know the answer to that.
That's tough.
That's
a pretty open-ended question, Ron.
I mean, it depends on the criteria, what you're.
Yeah, I looked up trying to find out the most successful, and it's hard to determine what's listed as a B movie, right? Because whatnot. But there's all these ideas of what are your favorites. I think that mostly, as far as successful, it'd be really hard to peg that. But if you want to consider the original Evil Dead a B movie, that has been immensely successful for Evil Dead and Army of Darkness and Bruce Campbell's career and Sam Raimi. So we just recently covered that on Horror Fest over at PCP. So that's fresh on my mind. But for real, that's one that just, it really, like we were just talking about it. It's such a small movie that didn't really do much when it first came out. And it was a B movie. It was played as the second feature in those drive-ins.
So
I remember driving 2 hours to see that movie because nobody had it. I drove out to a Pennsylvania drive-in, and I remember who would have we're going to get murdered out here.
I bet. And who would have imagined how far that's gone? Army of Darkness 1979, published by Dynamite Entertainment.
Just had that come out last week, right?
All right, so Dave is bidding 30 on the Spider-Gwen. Let's see.
Oh yeah, just to throw this out there, $755. At $755, whoever has the highest bid takes the book. So if anyone is sort of,
So let me end up doing a real quick recap.
Sure,
because sometimes we get to the very end and I know it puts a lot of stress on JD to show those images. So, all right, to start off with, we had the Dynamite 10-pack reader set. Suggested retail of $40, so that's 10 random Dynamite titles with a cover price of $3.99 or more. And that we are offering for $5. It's something we're going to keep bringing on the show to help new collectors build up their collection at a bargain. 50 cents a copy, not including shipping. It's a great gift item as we enter into the holiday season, and really just as a thank you for all of our viewers and all of our friends out there in the comic industry. So let's see, Ronald is at 30. All right, Ronald, you have to go a little bit higher than 30 because Dave's at 30. Although Dave, you did bid 29 and then you bid 30, so I wasn't sure what was about that.
I think what Dave is saying is that he told Ron to bid 30 and then Ron bid 30.
Oh, you told Ron? Yes. Okay. All right. So Ron is at 30, and we'll say Dave is at 29. All right. So Ron is in the lead there. All right. So we have the Dynamite 10-pack reader set for $5 tonight. And it's something we're going to keep bringing on. It's a great deal, a great bargain, a kind of a thank you to our viewers. Batman Signal #1, signed by Scott Schneider. Suggested retail of $39.99. We have it tonight for $27, and we have 2 issues available. Incredible Hulk #611, signed by Greg Pak. Suggested retail of $69.99, and we have it tonight, 2 available at $19.62. Spider-Gwen #1, blank variant, signed and remarked with a color Spider-Gwen sketch by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail of $119.65. We have it for $62 tonight for 1962, the year Amazing Fantasy #15 hit the stores. We have Evil Ernie #5, high-end Adrian Saif, chaotic green, ultra limited cover. Suggested retail of $100, but this is a claim book at $5. So the first person to claim it at $5 walks away with the book. Spider-Gwen #25, lenticular homage variant, CGC graded 9.8. Currently, Ron has the high offer at $30. And Star Wars #1, Dynamic Forces exclusive Imperial Elite Gold signature, signed by cover artist Greg Land. We suggested retail of $89.99. We have it tonight at $77. The Star Wars #1, Scott Harrell Baby Yoda sketch cover, suggested retail of $89.99. We have that tonight for $50. We also had the Batman Superman #18 Flash 75 variant by Jim Lee, gold signature series signed by Scott Williams. Suggested retail of $89.99, and we have it tonight for $27. Then we have Mass number 2, high-end Adrian Saiev Blood Red Ultra Limited Edition cover. Suggested retail of $100, but actually Ron claimed that for $5.
Ron claim that though?
Sorry, my bad. So Ron claimed that, and Ron claimed the Twilight Zone number 1 as well, with the high-end Francesco Francavilla Black and White Ultra Limited cover. So that goes to Ron. Joker 80th Anniversary number 1 with the Joker sketch, Joker Through the Ages sketch by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail of $89.99, and we have it for $80. Let's see. We had the Champions number 1, Dynamic Forces exclusive black and white cover, signed and remarked with a Spider-Man head sketch by Ken Hazer. It's the Miles Morales head sketch. Suggested retail of $89.99, and tonight this is our deal of the night for $15. So essentially, you're getting the sketch and the signature as a bonus. DC Nation number 0, signed by Brian Michael Bendis. Suggested retail of $29.99. Tonight we have it for $19.38. Suicide Squad King Shark number 1, signed by Tim Seeley. Suggested retail of $49.99. We have it tonight for $19.87. And obviously, after the re-release, King Shark has been a hot commodity out there. And then Challengers of the Unknown number 1 from 1958. CGC graded guaranteed 5.5. And we have that at $700 tonight. We only have the one available.
I don't know if I've ever seen one in that condition at 5.5 before. I've seen a bunch of them out there in 4s or even 3s. Maybe I don't know if I've ever seen one at 5.5 before.
Right, I know I haven't. So
I mean, it's 50,
probably
958.
1950.
58. 58.
Yeah,
yes,
I mean,
1958. So, so all this is available tonight. And if this is your first time joining us, JD will throw up a link and a QR code. Whatever you want to claim, post it in the chat. Then fill out the submission form so we have your ship to address and your real name and all that other relevant information. And we'll get an invoice out to you and get your book, in the mail to you as quickly as is humanly possible. So, what do we want to do next? Let's see. What time is it? Oh my gosh, time really
Let's
flies.
do the Tales of Suspense, Rex. I'm really pumped for that one.
Okay, let's do Tales of Suspense. Actually, Nick, what are we doing with that one?
Amy, give me 1 minute.
Okay.
How about the hack slash?
Oh, we can do that. Let's do that. Hack slash.
Nice.
All right, so let's do the hack
See, take
slash.
your time. I'm just going to probably open this plastic and Tales of Suspense while you're trying to find out how much it.
Don't
Don't touch it.
Don't cut yourself. Those
I know,
plastic
right?
edges
Oh
are
my
sharp
God.
when you break them out.
You know what? I'm sure somewhere there's someone that cracks open a book, and I can't imagine that, like the rush of air that comes.
You think about that way too much.
I know, it's like Raiders of the Lost Ark. You've chosen poorly.
This is a perfect
Hack
one, by
Slash
the way.
Versus Chaos number 1.
Perfect for Halloween.
Cassie
600
Hack.
for the tails.
All right, so Hack Slash, where did I leave off? Versus Chaos number 1, Ken Hazer, Cassie Hack Remark Edition. Suggested retail of $89.99. We have it tonight for $19.62.
Wow.
So another Ken Hazer just masterpiece, if that's not going too far overboard.
Perfect
I
for
love this
Halloween.
stuff. And we have a price for the Tales of Suspense, number 58 from 1964 with CGC graded guaranteed 4.0, and we have that for $600. Captain America versus Iron Man, second appearance of Kraven, last Tales of the Watcher story, Stan Lee story, Jack Kirby art.
Yep. And the first time Captain America.
They're making $1 billion franchise by these two guys.
Yeah,
playing.
Right? Say again, Robbie.
I was saying it's the first time that Captain America shows up in Tales of Suspense, and he would become a featured character from this point forward too. So that's
right, exactly. So Stevie V's, let's see, he's gonna.
That's the first Civil War cover, right?
Say again.
That's the first Civil War cover, basically.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
it really is. I mean, that you look at I'm trying to think. This is 1960, what, 64?
I believe so. Yeah.
So we're talking about 55 years later.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, there you go.
If your math is correct.
If my math.
All right, so Stevie B's has claimed the Evil Ernie. for $5. So I have you down, Stevie B, for that. And you'll take a 10-pack as well. All right. Sounds good.
Stevie, I'll tell you right now,
Stevie.
that's great. Dynamite does not do nearly enough green books. And I'm super glad to see
every show that comes up, you are consistent.
You're publishing a character that has green in the name.
I will do everything in my power to convince Nick to publish more green books if you show up in a Green Hornet outfit.
Oh my God! No.
Okay.
You know
But
what?
without
if
the watch.
if I have the body type for that, I absolutely
Say
will.
again?
I said, but without the watch. So.
Without the watch. The watch is busted. Okay, don't bring it up again. He may start crying. He was starting
Yeah, I'm
to tear up a
sorry.
little bit
I'm
before
sorry.
the
I
show
didn't mean
when
to
he
do
told
that.
me about what happened with the watch.
It's a loss.
He's repressed the memory that his wife needed to
You know what?
remind
No,
him.
I totally forgot about that. I really did. It was just a long kind of. My retirement party dragged out from like the 4th of July
For
to Labor
weeks.
Day. No, it did. It was like that whole summer. It was like LBI.
I did not know John at the time, but if I did, I would have been upset if I wasn't invited.
There was a lot of eating out and partying, going to places one last time or whatever. The door, it got stuck on a car door.
Hey,
Okay,
have we done the Donnie Cates book yet? I don't think we have.
I don't
Silver
think we
Surfer
have.
Black.
Let's do that one. Let's do Silver Surfer Black #1, signed by Donnie Cates, and we have it tonight. We have the one at $48 for FF number 48.
Such a great book. Silver Surfer Black may be one of his best books he's done at Marvel. Tradmore on the artwork. It's very Kirby-esque, but different, stylized. Kirby would be proud of this book. This is a really, really sleek book and a great signature to get to.
So here's an interesting question for you guys. I mean, they never really, and Silver Surfer was one of my favorite characters growing up. The cosmic power and all that stuff. And it's never really taken hold. And I haven't seen Marvel really do anything other than the one FF movie.
It's so
Which
crazy.
we all agree was not exactly,
The spot for the Silver Surfer to show up in the current phase, was probably Guardians of the Galaxy or the Infinity War and Endgame, because you think of Silver Surfer moments during that. You have the whole Silver Surfer big moment in the sun during the Infinity Gauntlet, where Thanos has the gauntlet and the Silver Surfer starts his run to build up at light speed to try to get the gauntlet off of him.
Yeah, but they didn't have the rights. They didn't have the rights, so they couldn't do that. And you can't have Surfer without Galactus. So Surfer is primed to come in now, and I loved what they did with Surfer in that Fantastic Four movie. I don't necessarily like that movie, but I'm a Fantastic Four fan through and through. Right. So I'll take what I can get right now, including the Roger Corman one. But I really think that they did Surfer justice, like the character in that movie. The arc was there,
Right.
And
I
I
would
think
agree
the
with
MCU could really, really, could you imagine? I mean, we got to see Surfer first before it's just a hint of Galactus. This could be the next big thing. Everybody's like, well, what could Marvel possibly do that would be bigger than Thanos? Galactus.
See, that would seem to be almost like a post-credit scene, right? Like the end of the Fantastic Four reboot.
Yeah.
Something in Reed's lab goes off.
But you could stretch it out, right? You could stretch it out. So you could have a movie just dealing with the Surfer. And then you could also have the other Heralds of Galactus. You could have a Thor movie where he's fighting Terrax or Firelord. You know what I'm saying? And you could build that out because Thanos had his army, but nobody really, we knew who the Black Order were, but we don't know them like we know the Heralds of Galactus.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Those characters in the Black Order are, I wouldn't put them at that level of Firelord and Terrax.
Yeah.
Right.
Those are characters that could have their own movie individually as the villain and then also be a part of a larger Galactus story.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, and I again, they just need to get a decent FF film out there, man.
Well, I think you really do have to sort of, I'm always of like two minds when it comes to the Fantastic Four. We've had the Challengers of the Unknown book up here, right? So, the DNA of the Fantastic Four is the Challengers of the Unknown. And that book is very much 1950s, the space race. There's an argument to be made that the Fantastic Four can't successfully be translated into modern comics for Marvel based on what they've done. I don't agree with that argument.
I don't either. You were talking earlier, John, about the Bendis influence on the movies. Like when Bendis and Millar were doing the Ultimate Fantastic Four, they were like, okay, we've been to space. That's not the deal anymore. It's extra dimensional stuff. It's going to the negative zone. They find the negative zone. That could be the key now. Like it's not that they're going to space first, but they're going to breach dimensions first, right?
And I've really bashed that last Fantastic Four movie they did, but they did get one thing right, and it's exactly what Robbie just said. It's not about space travel, it's about dimensional travel.
Right.
And in some versions of the comics, Reed Richards wins the Nobel Prize, not for space flight, but for discovering the negative zone.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great sort of hook that, Reed Richards isn't a space character, even though I guess the essence of it was, they were astronauts initially, but sort of like dimensionauts.
Yeah.
And I think that really works. And I think there's no reason Galactus can't come from another dimension.
Exactly. And it opens the door for Annihilus and Annihilation. Yeah. So,
which is a great character Marvel has never done enough with.
Exactly.
I would agree with that. I mean, they've kind of touched on it and delved in it in terms of Ant-Man. So
yeah,
so the possibility exists, and I think the audience would be accepting of it.
Well, once they brought the whole quantum thing in, of course, there's the line that everybody loves from Ant-Man and Wasp: "Do you guys just throw quantum in front of everything?" To a certain extent, yeah. To a certain extent, yes. That's how we're getting this to work. I mean, is it a plot device? I mean, is it a script tool? Okay,
right,
sure,
right.
but
I agree.
I'm still enjoying the movie and I don't care.
So I want to once again.
Are we 7:55? Do we have to cut something off here?
We are done. We're actually at 7:58.
Okay.
So I want to thank everybody. I want to thank obviously Rock and Robbie. Thank you as always to joining us, for our show. John, of course, appreciate you. JD for producing the show. Definitely appreciate you.
So Ron got the Spider-Gwen bid then, right? We're confirmed.
What's that?
Like Ron got the Spider-Gwen.
Ron got the Spider-Gwen bid. So Ron got it. Again, love our viewers, especially our regulars that engage with us and stuff. Love our new viewers. Thanks for joining us.
Somebody picked up Evil Ernie.
Yeah, I am.
That's one of those books where I think flies under even the Dynamite radar a little bit. You know what I mean? People hear Dynamite and they're thinking Red Sonja, Vampirella, maybe James Bond. I don't know if Evil Ernie and the chaotic part of Dynamite is on everyone's radar. I talk about it a lot. I'm super glad to see someone pick that book up.
So just a reminder to everybody out there, John and I will be back on Wednesday for our comic collectible show. And Friday nights from 7 to 8 Eastern time, we have our original art show with Nick and John. So if you are an original art collector, that is a great show to watch. Always new, amazing original art.
And I'll say this right now, as good a deal as we offer here with the comics, some of the prices Nick has in original art are like laughably good. Like you hear it and you almost giggle, like, oh my, it's almost like you found something in the parking lot. I mean, just these beautiful pieces Nick has, sometimes from his own collection, at prices you're just not going to get anywhere else.
So again, thanks to everyone that took time out to watch us tonight.
I really appreciate it. We know you guys have other options. Thank you so much for joining us.
We will be back Wednesday.
We'll be back Wednesday.
And Robbie and I will be on our preview show on Friday on his YouTube channel. Definitely check it out. Pop Culture Philosophers. Great content there. Thanks everyone, and have a great evening.